Check. All right. And welcome to Mountain Time Sports Report. Mountain Time Sports Report live on Twitch and YouTube. I'm going to do a rapid rant here pretty quickly. Just wanted to get some other things off my chest. Richest country of the world, downgraded in credit. Why can't USA just put their bills on autopay? Whatever. Nuggets in the Mountain Time Zone, forcing a Game 7 with the Central Time jerks Oklahoma City Thunder. That's happening. Going to do that. Going to have a busy weekend here. Watching sports, some graduations. Game 7, as I said, Nuggets and Thunder. PGA Championship. The only golf I usually watch is the majors, unless something crazy is happening that I figure out on Twitter, or if I hear it from somebody. Hey, Don, put it on whatever channel. Watch the end of this. NASCAR All-Star race, whatever that is. Although it's the All-Star race in NASCAR is like less competitive than the MLS All-Star game or NBA All-Star game. They're out there. I don't know why they even do that. Also, every race is an All-Star race because all the guys play. Yeah, so there you go. What else do we got? Oh, the Colorado Rockies. They're still a team, I suppose. And they fired their coach, their manager this week, and we'll see what happens. But 7 wins on the season, on pace for 28. I don't know. Whatever. Can't shame that owner out of selling the team. I'll tell you that. All right, let's get to Rapids Rant. Although, Rapids fans, the sky's not falling, all right? I didn't do highlights today because there wasn't much highlights against DC United last weekend. All right. Let's get it started here. And welcome to Rapids Rant. I am Don Pablo, your host. Find Rapids Rant on Twitter, Blue Sky, more importantly, Blue Sky, Facebook, and sometimes we do Instagram, but that's my personal Instagram, so don't, unless you want to see like video game channel, highlights, even though I wouldn't call them highlights because I'm not good. There's some of that, and then there's some pictures of Dick's Sporting Goods that I've taken over the years. I am Don Pablo, the host of Rapids Rant. Find us on any podcasting platform. As soon as I get done, I convert this into an MP3, send it to host emeritus Kevberto, and he helps me out. Kevberto, congratulations. He's going to be hosting some graduation exercises this weekend. And can't believe Kevin has a high school graduate as a son. It's been a long, strange ride. Right, Bill Walton? Anyway, trying to avoid talking about the Rapids 2-0 loss in San Diego midweek. And like I said, there really wasn't any highlights. The Rapids, they forced a penalty, and ultimately Georgie missed it. And, not everybody's, I don't know if anybody's 100% on penalties for their whole career, so we'll give them that one. The chance of the Rapids coming back, they said it on the show, on the game telecast. It was like 95% the Rapids weren't going to even get a result. And it kind of felt that way halfway through, almost, at halftime, I would say. I was like, we're going to be lucky to have a draw and score a goal. But if we looked on the bright side, everybody talking about it last week. I've been talking about it for a month. The last 5 minutes of the half, the Rapids didn't concede. Then they came back, started the first 5 minutes of the second half, didn't concede. They had a pretty good, solid, and it was really the last 10 minutes of the half because there was a bunch of extra time in the first half. And I thought the Rapids played really well. And it was like 28 shots San Diego had. 28 shots. I think only 6 on goal. So there's that. If that counts. If I can find my situation here. But Rapids, they're 0 for May so far. And one of their games got changed out of May. Changed to July. I'll give you that update real quick. So it was 28 shots for San Diego, 9 for Colorado. On shots on goal, 5 for Colorado, 9 for San Diego. They dominating corners. 10 corners for San Diego, 3 for the Rapids. And even with their 3 offsides, San Diego, man, they just took it to the Rapids. I don't know. Maybe the Rapids are just in a slump right now. Obviously, midweek there was changes in the roster. Ian Murphy got to start. Sam Vines got to start. Keegan, who hasn't started the last couple of weeks, went back in the starting lineup. Carter Roden got to start, and Wayne Frederick and Kevin Cabral. So it was kind of a different lineup. They still had their chances, but we'll see what happens here in the Rocky Mountain Cup rivalry week in MLS. And playing 2 games since the last time I talked to you. Standings are a little different. So let's get to those real quick. And I don't know. I will call it it was a rough one. It was a rough one. I mean, and the guys know they're on the losing streak right now. Rapids haven't won since they played San Diego in Dick's Sporting Goods Park in mid-April. So it's been a month. People are struggling. There's been a couple knocks, and they said even Zach Steffen had a little abdominal tweak on when he threw when he threw a ball from the 18. But I think he's going to play. I'm pretty sure he's going to play. You have to you have to decipher coach speak when you professional coach speak when you have these, and they don't want to give anything away. So I think Steffen will be on the injury report, which I can check if that's out. But I expect him to play, and I hope he plays, and I'm sure he will play. I'll say that. They do not have that. Oh, Jets. Let me just refresh. Nah, the injury report is not out as of 5:40 Friday night. So, sorry, no betting inside information right now. Although I swear soccer is the hardest to bet, but I don't know. Maybe cricket, but soccer, there's so few goals scored. Maybe it's not as exciting. I don't know. I have to get somebody that I know degenerate gamblers, but I don't know any that bet soccer. And I was thinking about it because we were talking about betting with my friends that is a degenerate gambler. And the reason I don't bet, and I figured it out, I only find reasons or talk myself out of betting. Like I only find a reason not to bet. I don't think things are sure victories or sure cash grabbers. I only find reasons to not do it. So maybe it's just, don't even do it. Because nothing's a sure thing. Why? I'd rather play poker, look somebody in the eye. Not that I'm the best with eye contact. Rather play poker, look somebody in the eye, and then play the man and the house always wins. So there's that, and that's why I don't really gamble on sports. And you don't want to. I don't know. It makes it different. It makes it different. Like fantasy football, it makes it just different. You want this outcome, and a lot of people have put money on that. It's just you got juice or action, as they say, and I don't know. Nobody wants to lose money, so there's that. But give me in a cash game, Texas Hold'em. Let's do this. Some of my friends won't play with me anymore, but it's okay. It's okay. Who else got in? Rouse came in. Calvin Harris, Josh Atencio, Sam Bassett got 15 minutes in the game. Thought he did okay. And Ali Laraz just making plays, man. Like, it's not plays that are going to end up on the highlight reel, but it's like, oh, he got to that ball. All right. Heck yeah. We're going back, offensive attack position. And I swear he does that 3 times a match when he plays. And maybe he was getting a little break midweek, but I will say that every day, and I will apologize for the way that we talked about him when he first came on the field. It was a couple of weeks, and that was before he even went to Orange County and learned from Landon Donovan before he came back here. And obviously he secured starting spot by the end of last year, and he started a bunch of games for the Rapids so far. And I think he's a starter. It's just the midweek game, it's hard to play 3 games in 7 days, even for professionals. But the good news is the next time, it's not going to happen next time that it was supposed to here at the end of May, because they moved the LA Galaxy game, I believe it was. LAFC, excuse me. LAFC, that was supposed to be May 31st. That will now be July 9th. So July 9th, midweek game. And the good news for Rapids fans, it's in LA, so they're not missing anything. They're not changing their plans. Hopefully, if you have traveled there, you got enough time to, change the situation. The plane change fees suck, but it's better. Whatever. NFL schedule just came out, and the Broncos will be there when I'm there. And that makes me the most excited for a long time, because I've always tried. You can never plan, after, obviously, but we plan these vacations or these little getaways months in advance, even before the NFL schedule comes out. So it was a harmonious, lucky situation that I'm going to be down there when the Broncos are, and check out Allegiant Stadium in LA. I was watching the game against San Diego, and I have the field up right now. Can I share this? And the first thing I noticed after the announcer pronouncing Cheeto's name wrong, very wrong, and I will give him that it was tough. But hey, man, that's your job. Like, they put phonetically. There's every name, not just even the easy name, Cole Bassett phonetically, Sam Vines phonetically. So Cheeto, it's in there phonetically, and that's the least you could do. And I make these note cards just with the lineups, and I do one for every match, home and away, because it's just easier, and then I could reference them. But the guys that do it, during the games on the networks, on the TV, they're this big. They're maybe 8 note cards taped together. And the easiest thing to do is to be able to say the names right. And, whatever. We're going to talk Rapids disrespect. All right. Sorry, guy. And maybe it's the Rapids small market syndrome, if you want to call this a small market. But looking at the field, and I was like, "What? How is this? How is this field this degraded already in San Diego Snapdragon Stadium?" It was the 7th match of the season. Granted, there's a women's team in San Diego that plays, and I believe the college football team plays, but they're not. They don't start playing for another. I think it was 100 days from yesterday. So what? 14 weeks until college football starts. So I think there's no excuse. And then I'm thinking, all right, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. But then another thought crossed my mind. Well, they have the Tijuana. Forgive me for saying it this way. Zolos, Cholos, and they're right there on the other side of the border. And we'll see what their field looks like. Because is it the grass? Is it the weather that's messing up the field? What is it? And if we could take, the environmental factor or some other thing and explain it away a little bit, then we'll do that. But I looked up, and granted, Tijuana, they haven't played since mid-April, but that was the last game of their season, though. So, and they're playing through the winter, and I realize this, it doesn't get cold down there, but look at their field, all right, at Caliente Stadium in Tijuana down there. Zolos, they finished 13th in the I believe it's the Clausura. So there's no playoff games down there. But look at the difference between the field down there in Tijuana at Caliente Stadium and the field at Snapdragon. And I'm like, all right, come on, say it. It's right there. They compare it right there. LAFC and LA Galaxy Stadium are farther away than Caliente and Snapdragon Stadium. And it's like, come on, man! We're supposed to be professional here. The Rapids, small inside baseball. They don't really practice on their main practice field until it gets a little warmer during the season, because I think it would be messed up. But the Rapids practice field is better. Forget about the main stadium. The Rapids practice field, their main practice field, is better than what they played on this weekend. And I was like, it looks like Pittsburgh Steelers. It's not Heinz Field anymore. It's something else, AccuCenture. But it looks like that field at the end of the NFL season. That's what Snapdragon, the professional, and the pitch. All I hear, and that's one of their big reasons for getting out of these giant stadiums, is because NFL teams or other sports that play in the stadiums mess it up. Lacrosse, they play lacrosse at Mile High on that grass, and it gets worn in because of the goalies. They don't really move, but that's what it looked like. It looks like it was worn in, and it's only 2.5 months in the season. I'm not complaining. I'm going to complain for the team. They didn't say anything. I'm just saying what I saw. I did a little investigation. And if you've ever driven down the Rio Grande, which is the border between the United States and Mexico, and I'll give you, for instance, in El Paso, the Sun Bowl, where UTEP plays, University of Texas El Paso, it's basically right on the other side of the border from Mexico. It's like right there. You're sitting in one of the nosebleeds in Sun Bowl. You can see Mexico. And I mean, Sun Bowl, great field. It is mostly artificial turf, but Texas, they take care of their stadium down there. And, Mexico, not the richest country in the world at all, but it's weird. It's opposite. If you could see the difference economically when you're in El Paso to Juarez right there. At Juarez, by the way, they finished, I think, top 7 in the league in the League of Mex this year. And then so you're looking, you could tell the economic difference between Mexico and the United States. All right, United States, Texas El Paso, amazing. Now when you're looking at those two stadiums, Snapdragon and Caliente Stadium, and you're like, wait a minute, which one is United States and which one is Mexico? I think a lot of people will get it wrong. I think most people will get it wrong unless you knew, because it's whatever. So there you go. I don't want to just complain, although that's kind of where we're at. I'm trying to look on the bright side. And you could tell because Georgie slipped once, and it was basically going to be a 2-on-1 and the goalie. And I'm not blaming the penalty on slipping, but the field wasn't great, and you could tell. And the players will never condemn it or say bad. They really wouldn't. But you could tell on TV, man. That's why we have 4K. We could tell in 4K, right? For real. So, all right, no more excuses. And I'm glad because of Leagues Cup, Rapids are playing. They're going to play in LA though, but it was a possible, because I think Club America, they're going to get the bigger clubs, like the first couple seeds, the big Mexican clubs. They get like bases. They get like a home base, so they don't have to travel. And Snapdragon Stadium is one of those. I think it's Club America. I'd have to look it up. But it's like one of the big, maybe Chivas, but it's like one of the big teams gets the home base for a little bit, and it's gonna suck because whatever team gets Snapdragon, I hope maybe they'll change the pitch, put some more sod down, figure out the grass situation. Maybe we can call down to Tijuana and ask those guys what they're doing. But come on, San Diego, we knew we were doing this for many years. And by the way, how do the Padres call the Padres guy? Because there are a lot of burning and warning spots in baseball. The outfielders usually stand in the same spot. Maybe let's call those guys and see what they're doing to get rid of that. All right. They did beat the Rapids 2-0. So, okay. Done complaining about San Diego. We'll put that in the rear view. We get them next year. It was one victory for Colorado, one victory for San Diego this year. And we're only playing every team twice in the Western Conference, a new feature of the schedule for MLS this year, because we have even number of teams and conferences. Which is why I was like, we're not going to play Salt Lake. I was kind of sad that we were going to play Salt Lake, because 3 games, it's like you can get, it's a rubber match. Maybe one win, and then the third and 2-1, right? But the rest of the, some other leagues just play twice. And I don't know if they give trophies out for stuff like that, for like the derbies. But it's a more traditional thing. So you know what? I'll take it. I thought about it. Good idea. Only twice, once at home and once on the road. I think it's a good thing. So, the first one against Salt Lake in the Rocky Mountain Cup, which resides in Denver. And the video you see the most, I think, if you go on ColoradoRapids.com, is the first one. And they do a lot of Armis running down to the supporter section with the Rocky Mountain Cup and raising it over his head and, doing that stuff. That's like the one I see the most, which is, good feeling, because they hadn't had it even the year they won the Western Conference in 21. Rapids didn't win the Rocky Mountain Cup, so it resides here. Let's keep it here, Rapids. Getting off the schneid and getting a victory against Salt Lake will help us get most of the way there. Because if there is a tie and it's like goals, and even if goals for it against are tied, then it stays the rules of the tournament, and it stays with whoever won it, whoever possesses it. So the Rapids have a good advantage. in that way. But we don't want tie. We don't want to win like that. We want to win by winning. So there's that. By the way, Armis, Hall of Fame soccer player, amazing form, basketball shot. He's a great form. He was hitting threes. I saw him hitting some threes. But yeah, keeping that arm straight. Yeah, Armis looked like Spudwab, Denver fan Earl Boykins. Looked like Earl Boykins out there. Anyway, so there will be a doubleheader Saturday night against Salt Lake. So the Rapids and Salt Lake senior team will play first. Their regular scheduled time 7:30, and then there's a team that's actually won twice the Rocky Mountain Cup, and they're going for the third time, and that's the Rapids Unified team. They're going to be, I think it's 15 minutes after Salt Lake and Rapids end, when Pablo Mastroeni makes the guys do sprints after the game when they're done, I guess. But and when I had a press release about this that I was supposed to read, and now I can't find it. Yeah, so it's a doubleheader against Salt Lake. They only play once, and the Rapids Unified team have won twice in a row. So they're going for the triple. Let's do it. The three-peat. Hopefully get shirts. When they win, get shirts for the three-peat. And yeah, so they're players between age of 16 and 25. So in their sports prime, right there. Try to stick around and watch that. Usually players do delay the post-match interviews so we can watch the unified team play, because I root for the Rapids for whatever. And yeah, I'm a fan, but I try to be objective. Except for making fun of the state of Utah, which, push comes to shove, I'll live there. Going to take a lot, but I'd live there. And I'll give it a compliment. When you're driving through the canyon to go to Las Vegas, the last hour to get to Nevada, it's a beautiful drive, and I will even say better than Canyon City from 25 to Salida. You pass by Supermax, by the way, Florence, Colorado, home of some amazing people. I'll say it's even better than that drive down there through, what is that, 280? No, it's Highway 50, I think. Highway 50 through Florence. And anyway, there's your compliment, Utah. I like the end of your leaving. I like leaving when you're driving through, leaving Utah. And then, fortunately, you got to come back. Although, I'll take the 90-minute flight to Vegas over the 12-hour drive any day. Anyway, see, I can compliment too. I can compliment. So I'm excited. I'm excited for this week. Rapids getting two matches on Saturday, one in the midweek. They're kind of caught it at a bad time because of scheduling. So, and the guys know. And Armis, the thing is, we're not getting two up or two down. We just, Armis's thing is stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And they're staying ready. There was a different lineup. These guys, and the team won't admit it, but we'll see. They just play different because if you haven't played with those guys in that lineup, for 3 months now, it's gonna be different. And the bouncers just didn't go the Rapids' way on Wednesday. They're making more excuses, but let's look forward to this weekend and some other matches that are coming up. My favorite My favorite Derby name, El Trafico. El Trafico. It's a great one. Obviously, LA and LAFC. Will LAFC get their, LA Galaxy get their first win of the season? This was the only home game they lost last year was LA, and that was in the Rose Bowl. This one is not in the Rose Bowl. I think it'll be in the Rose Bowl when LAFC hosts, because last year it was in the Rose Bowl when LA Galaxy hosted. So the home team with different tickets get, they even it out. Excuse me. I'm just trying to get to MLS soccer.com. Obviously, teams are different from the first match of the season. We're in the middle of May. And I asked Cole Bassett that question. Like, at this time last year, the Rapids have already played Salt Lake 3 times. And that was the one of the matches in Salt Lake was when they got the sideline, the whole bench got fined, the whole team got fined because there was some shenanigans, as I called it, even though it was Salt Lake that started it. It didn't really go anywhere, but that is our rival. So let's just look at the standings real quick. And MLS Soccer has, all right, MLSsoccer.com has different standings than ESPN, by the way. So I don't know who to believe, because I talked to the media people about the red card that Stefan got, and it wasn't on MLSsoccer.com, but it was on other. But yeah, the red card counted, and I don't know what happened. MLSsoccer.com, get your act together. Anyway, so the whole reason I bring this up is because MLSsoccer.com has the Rapids in playoff position, and ESPN doesn't. So I don't know who's wrong, and I would say trust MLS Soccer, but I don't know. I gotta find more sources now. Anyway, Vancouver, their commanding lead, actually only 4 points over San Diego. San Diego second place. They are 4-1-2 on the Warren pitch in San Diego. Minnesota 3, 1 point back from San Diego. Portland 22 points, tied with Minnesota. LAFC up to 5th place. Seattle 6th place, 19 points. San Jose, Austin, they both have 17. Rapids in 9th place. Wild card matchup right now versus Austin, 16 points. Dallas also has 16. Salt Lake looking to jump the Rapids. Only 2 points back. If they somehow win this weekend, they'll be back in playoff position. Salt Lake 11th place. Houston 13. Kansas City making a little comeback since they got a new coach. 11 points, tied with St. Louis at 11. And then the Galaxy, 3 draws. Their only points on the season, 3 draws. And as I said, they will be hosting LAFC, their only home loss of last season. So we'll see what happens. Do they get their first victory on the year? Because the last team on the East has more than doubled LA Galaxy's points. Get there in a second. But right now, Cincinnati in the Supporters Shield lead, 28 points, first in the East. Philadelphia, Columbus, both on 26. Nashville, 23. Miami, 22 and 5th. And it's weird. We're talking about the schedule a couple of weeks ago, and I'm going to talk about the schedule next week again because, the MLS changing schedules and messy. And there's been some more than one story about Messi's upset. And, maybe we can dismiss one. Maybe we can dismiss 2. But on the big periodical front or big journalist stories, when there's smoke, there's fire, and it's not just one, it's multiple. And They did make a big deal of Messi signing an extension earlier this year, but apparently it's not signed yet, which was one of the stories. So let's get Messi to sign that. Miami's in 5th place. They played it large number of games. I think only LA Galaxy have played more because of Champions Cup. So we'll see what happens in Miami. Messi obviously not as successful as maybe they pitched the team to be when he came over to the United States after the last World Cup in 2022. So there's that. Miami out of the top 4 in the Eastern Conference. I think that's the first time I can remember since Messi joined the team, and they barely missed the playoffs that year. Although they did win Open Cup, right? Excuse me. Sorry. So Orlando, 6th place. Charlotte, 7th place. They dropped. They were in 2nd place here a couple of weeks ago. So they're similarly to the Rapids, kind of going down in the standings a little bit, although it's close. And if they win one, they'll be, depending on what happens, 6th or 7th place. Anyway, New York City FC, 18 points in 9th. That would be a fun wild card game. Red Bull versus City, both on 18 points. Excuse me. So, yeah, that would be fun. Although New York Red Bull, no victories on the road this season. City has one. In 10th place, New England Revolution. They've come up in the standings. They were on the bottom there for a couple of weeks, at least the first month of the season. Chicago, 11th place, 16. DC United, 13. Atlanta, 11. Toronto, 14th and 10 points. And their Canadian cousin, the Montreal FC, 7 points. No wins at home. 1 win on the road. They played 9 road games, 4 home games on the season. So maybe they play all these home games. We're going to expect them to, go up in the standings. And they are 10 points out, 11 points out of the last playoff position. So Montreal better start, winning. Is LA, although LA, after winning the championship last year, we'll see what happens. There was a big deal about FIFA, World Club Championships and Inter Miami going or LA. And I don't know. I don't care about that. I'm just talking about the regular season. There's your table talk and your standings. As I said, Rapids in 9th place. Wild card matchup with Austin FC. Austin FC, though, -7 goal differentials. Rapids actually -5. So there's some work to do on that front. But at least we're not the Galaxy. -21. And the worst in the East is DC United at -12. So Austin, they're holding on to playoffs with a negative goal differential. But now I can't really say anything because the Rapids are 2. 2-2 at home, 2-3 and 2 on the road. Your Colorado Rapids. This is Rapids Rant, Mountain Time Sports Report. Rapids Rant, a division. You can follow us on all social media networks. Twitter X, Blue Sky, Facebook. We'll go talking. I'll pop up on Reddit, but it's not Rapids Rant. It's just Dawn. If you see a name Dawn in there, that's me. Don't dox me. Anyway, you can follow us live. Just go to Twitch or go to YouTube. Look up Mountain Time Sports Report, Mountain Time Sports Report. And click on the notifications, subscribe, and you can watch us live when I do it. And this week, my schedule was Friday. And I'm sorry that I don't do it consistently every week, but I just try to get out a Rapids Rant at least once a week. And Mountain Time Sports Report just been, who would have thought you'd be busy when I like boring politics? Say that. I'll just say that. I like boring. I don't like reality show. As far as job goes. Whatever. So there's that. And I know some people like the other way, but yeah, maybe I'll stop complaining now. So follow Rapids Rant on all those places. You can watch us get some MLS content and Mountain Time Zone, because they are the forgotten time zone, of course. And the only other MLS team in the Mountain Time Zone, Salt Lake, is coming to Denver this weekend. Don't forget the doubleheader at Dick's Sporting Goods Park. The Colorado Rapids Unified team plays Salt Lake. And it was funny because one thing in the Reddit, it was some Salt Lake fans saying, are there bars close to, are there walkable places close to Dick's Sporting Goods? And I just laughed. I was like, all right, well, that's going to be a rough one, bro. Like you could, and there is a Mexican food place across the street on Quebec, but it's going to take you 20 minutes to get to Quebec. And then I'll be scared. I wouldn't cross Quebec there, or even on 56th, or even on Prairie Drive. Yeah, I don't know, and I don't know the bus schedule, so there's that. But I think the Rapids, they have to hope that the Denver Broncos, when they announce their new stadium, whether they put a dome on Invesco, although I think they'll just scrape the pad and start over there, or they put it in Aurora. There's no way they're putting it in Lone Tree or Centennial. There's no way. I think Aurora, they get a light rail stop on 56th Avenue, or even, I don't know, Central Park. I-70 already has it, so it's like 56th Avenue. They got to hope. If that's the Rapids' hope for public transportation, to get a light rail stop out there so it connects with everywhere else in Denver. Because that NWSL team is going to be at Broadway, which was the first light rail stop, the biggest light rail stop there for a while. And it's the hub where you can go anywhere on the light rail. It used to be before they put the north ones and the one to the airport and Union Station. Yeah, Broadway. So they've already got that figured out. And NWSL, real smart by putting that stadium right there. And I was at GB's Fish and Chips, and they were very excited about that because you can walk to GB's Fish and Chips from the NWSL stadium whenever that happens, a couple of years from now. So, all right, that's not Rapids. That's more Denver politics talk, which I know people love to listen to on Rapids Rant. So, I think the Rapids are going to win. I think that the guys are motivated and focused. I will give another compliment to Yappy. Yappy's first touch looks good. Looking good so far this year. He's suffered fouls that have led to penalties, which was a thing that he did really well last year. The Rapids had the most penalties last year. I don't think they have that this year, but I'll take it. I'll take goals wherever we can get them. And I understand that Pablo Mastroeni, head coach of Salt Lake, is a defensive guy, but Salt Lake, they haven't been as good this year. They're in a more of a rebuilding year. They're in more of a not doing as well year. And Salt Lake, they said like the key stories to the game where it was Pablo coming back, and I'm like, he's already done this many times. Like, he won the championship here. Why would he have foul feelings coming to Denver? 12 years he played here. Obviously, you want to beat your old team, but it's not like he won a title. I think he played Tampa, the Mutiny, right? Or Miami. It was a Miami Fusion. I don't remember. That's a long time ago. So, and this is the MLS 30th year, and he started playing with the Rapids. I don't even know when they contracted those. So, anyway, this is Rapids Rant. I think the Rapids will get a victory. Georgie's going to get some revenge for the missed penalty. Cole Bassett, still want to get him on board and on the board. And the rest of the guys. See some midfield control. And the defense has been solid. You just got to get some more offensive possession early in the game. And that's kind of what nipped us in the bud in San Diego. So, Rapids versus Salt Lake, your Rocky Mountain Cup rivalry. Let's go, Rapids. Beat Salt Lake. If you've listened this far, God bless you. And remember to take care of yourselves and each other. For Rapids Rant, for Mountain Time Sports Report, I'm